What's up guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Shell over here. I know it's been some time since we posted our last video, but we're back guys. And the time that we're out, we've been having some problems with the golf. But before we get into that, I just want to say thanks to all the guys that bought our merch this past weekend at the Stance Spark Off. We really appreciate it. Cole and I were really ecstatic about that, and only more to come guys. We really appreciate it. And right now guys, let me tell you about all the problems that we got into the past week or so when my friends came over to get this car started. So when they came over, we managed to get the wiring harness all together, put the fuel pipes and everything as much as we could. And the problem started when we started cranking the car. So the first thing that happened, there wasn't spark. So what Calvin did, one of my friends, he helped me wire this little ECU small thing that helps start the car. So anyways, he managed to get that to work and it was cranking, but I mean it wasn't giving enough spark. As when we checked, there wasn't spark coming out of the leads. And then also when we saw there wasn't any spark, we saw that the reason of the spark wasn't consistent is because there was too much play on this distributor. And we did tighten it all the way down guys. So I know you guys might think that we maybe didn't tighten it down, but there's just too much play in this distributor. Let me try and show you guys. On the shaft over here, there's just too much play. Not like this. This is normal. This is normal. I'm talking about side to side play, and that's a problem. The play is all the way in the shaft over here. So I'll show you all the new parts. I'll show you all the new parts that I did buy to fix that. And then also that ignition coil, as you can see, it's had its time. It's very old. And then yeah, so then we managed to get the spark going. And then after that, the car was cranking, but then it wasn't cranking fast enough. So we thought, oh, here comes another problem. So the car was cranking, the engine was turning over. But then we found that there's a problem on the crankshaft. So when I tried to turn it with a ratchet, it wasn't turning at all guys. You think that the engine was seized. So that was a bit of a scare. So our minds went straight first to maybe it's the gearbox, because it was reconned, but it was not the gearbox. I did some troubleshooting this past week. It was not the gearbox. We checked maybe if it was just maybe it was on the cam side. Maybe the cam side is seizing a bit, causing it not to turn. Once we took off the cam belt, the camshaft was turning over nicely. And then once we checked the crankshaft alone, to turn it over, it was way too tight. So we think that the bearings that we put is a little bit too big, which is causing a bit of a seizure on those big ends, or either the mains. We're gonna check today. And yeah guys, I was really depressed to find out about that news, that I'm gonna have to strip again. But here we are guys, we can't quit. We have to get this car done, and yeah, we have to get it running and driving guys. Okay guys, so the parts that I bought after this whole situation that occurred the past weekend. So I bought first the ignition coil. I thought, well, I might as well buy a new ignition coil as well, because we have to buy a distributor as well. I bought some CV clamps, because I am missing some clamps on the side shafts. And then I also bought some fuel clamps. And then also this is a fan switch. The fan switch on my radiator was leaking a bit, so just gonna replace that. Bought some new fuel pipe as well, and it's brake hoses, and then also gearbox oil. So we're gonna try and also seal up the gearbox today, so we can put in the gearbox oil. And then also, like I said, we're gonna measure these bearings and see what's the problem guys. So I got my manual over here. So the normal clearance that you should expect on the main bearings. Let me just see over here. So main bearing oil clearance standard should be about 0.03 millimeters to 0.08 millimeters. And also on the connecting rod bearing oil clearance, that's the big ends, should be about 0.028 millimeters to about 0.088 millimeters. That's what we should expect. You never know what we're gonna get, so I got my plastic gauge over here so we can measure and see what we're gonna get, guys. And I'm gonna show you how we use a plastic gauge and how we're gonna diagnose this problem and see how we can fix it. And then also I got the gearbox cover that I need to seal for today. Like I showed you guys, it was stripped, the bolts were stripped. So what I did was I tapped this hole a bit bigger, and I'm fitting a size 13 bolt over here. And then yeah guys, that will be it. Hopefully we can do all of it today. Time is running out, so let's get to it, guys. Okay guys, so we have the sump off and the oil pump off over there. Just want to show you guys. So I took off all the big end bearing caps, as you can see over there. I don't see any damage on the big end journals itself. Looks smooth. Don't feel any roughness or any damage on these big end journals. But I want to show you guys, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but can you see how it's scratched over there? There's some scratches over here. So number 3 definitely, let me just put some light on this. So number 3 definitely was kind of seizing. Number 2 doesn't look bad at all. Number 1 and number 4 we'll look at it just now. But yeah, all of them off over here. Just want to show you over here. Can you see this, guys? See that white metal is starting to already come off, and that was just from turning over the motor, cranking it. That's not even driving at high revs. So as you can imagine, if we were driving this car, this bearing, this con rod could have seized, bent the con rod. Much more damage could have happened from this happening. I mean, from if we didn't see this before you even started the car. So thankfully we're able to fix this problem before it got any worse. So what I'm gonna do now, guys, I'm just gonna take a piece of this plastic gauge. It's over here. So all you do is just take a really small piece. I don't know if you guys can see that. Now I'm gonna put it in the middle over here. I'm gonna put it right in the middle over here. Okay guys, not supposed to put the plastic gauge vertically with the rod bearing. You're supposed to put it horizontally so that it fits, like going across like that, so that you can measure the whole bearing like that. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then yeah guys, I'm just gonna go through all of them and I'm gonna show you the measurements that I got. Okay, and then we're gonna torque these guys down, and then we're gonna take it off again and see how much pressure is gonna be put on these plastic gauges to make it squash it. And then we're gonna bring it over to these measurements over here and then see which one it's the closest to. That will be able to tell us how much oil clearance is on those specific big ends. Okay guys, so the owner's manual says 22 foot-pounds of torque, which is equivalent to about 32 Newton meters. So let's do that. Okay, torque. Okay brothers, okay, this is the measurements I got. All on the plastic gauge came to about 0.025 thousandths of a millimeter, as you can see over here. Comes up to this one over here, this one, and our spec is 0.028 thousandths to 0.088 thousandths of a millimeter, so it's out of spec, guys. So I'm gonna rather just get bearings that are a bit smaller than that. I'm gonna try and get bearings that are a bit smaller than that, maybe about a thousandths less than what it is right now, so that it can be within the range that is specified by the repair manual. Let me show you guys. So this is what I took off all the big ends, and obviously the plastic gauge is not gonna be as detailed as a micrometer or as a dial bore gauge to measure the specific millimeters that you want to get, but the plastic gauge is giving us a rough idea of where oil clearance is on this bearings. As you can see, it is a bit out, especially number 3. The plastic gauge was really squished wide. It was wider than 0.025, so which is this one over here, and that's the one that I showed you guys where the bearings were scraped. And so yeah, I'm gonna try and get new bearings for this. I did check the main. I didn't have enough plastic gauge to check all of the mains, but I checked the main, this number 2, and it's within range. And since I took off the big ends, especially the third one, I mean the crankshaft has been already turning much smoother than it was before, not with much difficulty. So we already know the problems on the big ends, so I'm not too worried about the mains. So we're gonna try and fix that, guys. Okay guys, here's it over here. Let's just make sure. Need to draw just this one a bit bigger. Hey. Okay, perfect, guys. Let's put on this gasket and put a bit of sealer on there as well. Guys, here's the other distributor. As you can see, our old one didn't have a vacuum diaphragm, which it's supposed to have. So I don't know where this guy got, previous owner got this one, because this model is supposed to have a vacuum diaphragm. So let's just take off these. Firing order is 1342. 1, number 3, number 4, number 2. Okay guys, that's it for today. We got the ignition coil in, the distributor in, found the problem with the big end bearings. Big end bearings was a problem causing the engine to start seizing. So the plan is for the next video, I'm gonna try and go and get a different size big end bearing so that we can fit that, and then we can try again at our second start, guys. It's a bit of a hit back, but you know, we have to keep pushing forward. Otherwise, giving up is the easier option, which is not the way that I want to go down. I want to finish this project and really be proud of what I've done. So yeah, guys, at least we got the ignition coil in, we got the distributor in, we got the gearbox cover in, and yeah, let's see what we can do in the next video, guys. Sorry I couldn't do everything in one video, get the new bearings and everything done and try and start it again. We're a bit short on time, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you guys gain some value out of this video, and thank you so much for the support, guys. I really appreciate it. And always, you guys, when you see us, just asking us how far is the golf and just showing your interest in the channel, we really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and be blessed, guys. Cheers.